Right, this is part two of what I'm not going to call a road safety audit because I'm not a road safety auditor, I'm not qualified. However, I do think it'd be a good idea for main roads to engage a proper road safety audit to go through this project and the detours that have been set up around the work sites. This is the Fremantle traffic bridge. Now, the Austroads guides to doing road safety audits do say that the auditors can engage a non-professional person such as a cyclist with local knowledge to provide input into the report. And I'm happy if Main Roads does engage an auditor to actually come down here with them, or they can use this video as input into their analysis and report, or any of the videos I've done. In fact, best thing the Main Roads could do is engage West Cycle and ask them to send some people down, and they might invite some interested people like me to come along. Now, here we're looking at the detour from south to north, and this stuff here completely baffles me. And I think the problem with this is this detour here was created when the footpath or shared path across the Fremantle traffic bridge was still open, and it made sense for cyclists to go up here and cross over at the lights and then stay on the footpath. Now I'm going to show you what I do, which is I avoid that detour completely because it still baffles me. I've been through it with 5 different people. Thanks, mate. I do not understand where cyclists are supposed to be going around here, because now that the path across the bridge is closed, if you follow that detour, you kind of end up on the footpath on the northern side of the intersection, and then it's like, what the hell do you do now? Because you can't use the footpath because it's blocked off. There's actually a couple of fences across it now. So I know there's a sign that says detour across there, but I actually tried that about 2 weeks ago. I'll show you what I mean. So see where that bloke is over there? He has to turn right and cut across through that elbow in the island there, and then kind of do a 90-degree turn or so to get onto the path here. In fact, you really need to turn back on yourself. Now, I know that's confusing as heck, so I'll try and explain that using this map. So what we're doing is we're coming up here along Beach Street, and we need to get over here somewhere. So what we used to do before they closed the footpath over the Fremantle traffic bridge is we used to come up Beach Street, and at the lights we would get in the right-hand lane and we would turn with the traffic and we'd go around this island here, and then just at where there's one of the traffic light poles, there's a ramp, and we'd take that ramp, get up onto the footpath, and we'd go around the footpath and over the bridge that way. So that was fine. And this is just showing it blown up. So we'd be in the right-hand lane with the cars, we'd go around this island, and there's the ramp, that T thing, and we'd be on the path. That was all good. But that path is now blocked off, so we can no longer do that. And this is the rather obscure kind of maneuver I was talking about, that it appears that they want cyclists over on the left-hand side of the road, and then you cross, I guess, with the pedestrian light to get into this little elbow-shaped island here, and then you have to do a sharp turn. And look, it doesn't look that sharp here, but when you actually have to do it in reality on the ground, it feels like it's quite a lot sharper than it looks here. You've got to cut across here, and it's kind of a very unnatural maneuver to do this. And then you've got to do another very sharp turn here to get on the footpath, and you wait at the lights here, you cross, and then you go up the path to get onto the path, and then you need to make like another 90-degree bend. Now watch where he's going, and so he's going up on the footpath, and he's about to run into a fence which says the path is closed. What's he doing now? He's gone around the fence, hasn't taken offense, and he's got to the bus shelter, and I think he's just spotted the variable message sign saying there's a closure, path is closed, and he's jumped the curb and he's now on the road, probably wondering where the hell he's supposed to go. So yeah, it's not clear at all. Now here, there is in fact signage. It says bus stop open, footpath closed, follow detour, pedestrians. Okay, that's good. What about cyclists? It's my common complaint through this project. They could have used those 2-quadrant or 3-quadrant stands, whatever you call them, to put in those white pedestrian and cyclist symbols, which would have created a lot more clarity about who each detour is for. Now, in fact, there's some more people now on bikes doing the same thing. They've gone up on the footpath. There's 1, 2, 3, there's actually 4 of them. And let's just, no, 5, 6 of them. Right. Well, I'll just have to talk you through where they're going. And one of them has already jumped on the road when they got to the first fence. 2 of them have, what's the third one? The last 4, they go around the bus stop. And then when they get to the path closed sign, they're just dropping off the curb. There's thankfully no traffic coming up behind them, so that's pretty easy. And then just going to ride across the bridge on the road. Yeah, did they do that deliberately, or did they get a big surprise because of the lack of clarity in the signage? Okay, hazards along here. Now this path that we're on at the moment, narrow concrete path. The vegetation's been cut back at an angle. There's lots of junk over there you don't want to ride through. It's wide enough here, this is all right, but this section from here up to the traffic lights is not so good. I wonder if they really evaluated this path before deciding to use it as a detour for cyclists. Of course, the alternative for us is to take to the road, which is not great if you're riding with little kids, which of course people are going to be doing. All right, there's a bus thing right in the middle of the path. Cheers. And the path again around here is quite narrow. And then you've got poles in the middle of the path and all the rest of it. And then you've got a seat there, which is a problem. And at this point, there's lots of broken glass around the pole here. Again, the sign there, pedestrians to the left, great. Where is the cyclist sign? That bloke who just came across there on his bike, he just jumped the curb because there's no ramp there. There's a bunch of people here that have come across and they look confused as hell. Look, there's 2 of them there, she's over there, he's over there. They're all talking to each other going, where the hell are we going, guys? We don't know how to cross this road properly. They should not be confused like that. Now, what are they going to do? Are they going to come across here and use this ramp? They're going to jump the curb like he did. These 2 are going to come this way. And he's gone back over the ramp onto the road with his buddy. Okay, so they were 2 separate pairs of cyclists. 2 on the footpath and 2 on the road. And I guess that's the difference between adults that are really confident and adults that are not so confident. So the whole reason I'm doing this is for the people that don't feel comfortable riding on the road here, either as adults or because they're riding with their kids. And that's just scary as hell, riding in 2 or 3 lanes of very busy traffic. All right, we go across here. Tight turn onto sketchy ballast. It's the best word for it. It's not real good. This is better. This is a reasonable width. So no complaints about this. Don't know what the lighting's like. We come around the corner. For some reason they've set this up as a T-junction instead of letting the path kind of flow to the left. It'd be much better if instead of being a T, they'd smooth that bend off. All right, as mentioned previously, this is too narrow. They're taking care of this risk up here with this new path. I came down here with a couple of buddies during the week, and this is the first thing they did. They saw the fence and we all rode around the grass on this side, and clearly a lot of cyclists have done it because the grass is looking pretty dead. All right, those signs are way too small. You hardly ever see them. Going across from this direction, okay, I have to deal with cars coming from my right from East Street on the other side of the intersection. Cars coming from behind me who want to turn left. Vehicles coming that way that are wanting to turn right across the road, and then of course vehicles that block the ramp there. It's just not good. Now, just out of interest back here, so there's a whole detour set up down around East Street, etc. And what does this thing show? On this side of the road, it's showing a road closure underneath the bridge, which is fine. And it's not showing a detour up East Street for people coming along Riverside Road. There are separate maps for that around the place, but I would have thought that would be a good place to put one up for that particular detour. This is what I'm talking about, doing this with little kids. So there's a bloke with a little kid who's, I don't know, 6 or 8 years old on a scooter, and you know, they would presumably be navigating this detour or parts of it together. That's who I'm doing. That's why I'm analysing this detour, for people like that. It's not for people like me. It's for them. And that's I think what the people who are running this project need to get their head around. So need to make this safe for kids and people that don't know the way around. All right, that hazard covered on the way back. Sorry, in part one, pretty obvious. This tree needs trimming. I'll show you why. Look at it as I go in this direction, and see, it's hanging down to about the strap across my chest. Someone needs to chop that back. The reason why, it's two-way traffic along here. When I'm heading in this direction and someone's coming the other way, the person who's heading west essentially gets forced into those branches. This bus stop is not too bad. It's not a massive risk like the other one. Okay, detour signage. Where's the cyclist symbology? Why aren't we using the large holders, whatever you call them, and putting cyclist and pedestrian stuff in there? Okay, here's a fence. That map is actually almost oriented the right way. It's probably out by about 30 degrees, but you know, I'm not going to quibble. At least if I look at it, north is kind of in that direction, and I can orientate myself to the ground properly. Unlike all the maps on the northern side facing the other way, where you kind of have to stand on your head to understand where you're supposed to go. Now, this path really should be swept on a regular basis. Quite frequently it gets glass on it from crashes on the road, smashed headlights and things like that. The broken glass just gets swept onto here and stays here forever. So maybe if every couple of weeks, project organised for a street sweeper to come across on it. Look, there's a broken beer bottle back there. It was a whole beer bottle, which could easily have be turned into a broken one. That's not really a risk, it's more just a pain in the backside. Okay, as we come over here, this path is in rotten shape. Thankfully all these trees have been cut back, that was good. There was a lot of hazardous branches before that was done a few months ago. Again, the signage around here, why is it not using cyclist and pedestrian symbology? These bollards have to go. They're in the shade now, they're really hard to see. If I was in a group, you'd be hoping that the people up the front would be calling out bollards and making the cycling symbol for bollards to tell, cyclists there's a bollard there. Pedestrians, right, where's the pedestrian cyclist thing? Again, all the vegetation on this corner needs to be cut back. Let's go and test it. Let's do the face test with the vegetation. Not my favourite test to do, but one that does need doing, because you might consider that people are going to be riding around here in the dark and they are not going to see this stuff because of poor lighting. So therefore you need to cut this stuff back. Is this going to hit my helmet? Yes, yes, yes. Face. Whoops. Yeah, definitely would have been face if I hadn't ducked under that. So yeah, a bit of pruning required every now and again. I see the stuff back there has been cut back. There's a nice big rosemary here that needs cutting back. You've got to watch for cars coming from your right behind you. Pity, it's a nice rosemary bush. Get a lot of lamb roasts out of that. But I think it needs to be trimmed a little bit. Okay, here we have pretty much the only cyclist and pedestrian sign on the whole route. Need about 30 more of them, it'll be fine. Got to watch over your shoulder there for vehicles turning left coming up behind you. That sign there is often in the middle of the path. Don't understand why. Path closed ahead. Okay, that's kind of useful. We're going to turn right. And now there is no detour signage anywhere telling me how to get back to Pierce Street. I'm pretty sure there used to be a sign over there on the other side of the road where they've now put that bit of temporary fencing. Maybe when they put the fencing up they took the signage away. Don't know why you'd do that. Oh look, there's a bloke riding down the path on the other side. I'm just going to watch where he's going. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera. He's just gone past the bus stop and he's jumped onto the road, and people are running the red lights in their little Land Rovers. And what's he done? He's now in the middle of the road riding towards the bridge. Better him than me. Again, over here on the other side of the crosswalk where that give way sign is, I'm pretty sure there used to be a left turn sign there. It's gone. I mean, we have end road work, thank you, 50 km/h signage a little bit further on. So clearly that other side of the road must be seen as being within the scope of the project if there's roadwork sign there. So if there's signage for drivers, why is there no signage for pedestrians? In fact, I can see signage for drivers a fair bit further up towards the cafes. What I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to ride up there about 50 metres or so towards what is it, the Brucetown Cafe, and we'll have a look at where the signage starts, because if someone from the project tries to, this is a real risk here, you really got to watch to your left for vehicles using that slip lane. Very easily get clobbered. Yeah, so if someone says, oh no, we can't put signage over here for cyclists because it's outside the scope of the project, well, in that case, why is there signage right here? So that one says roadworks ahead. I'm just going to go a little bit further up and see if there's any more warning signage for drivers telling them that there's something afoot a little bit further up. Maybe there is up towards Sterling Highway, but I cannot see anything from here. So I'm just going to make the assumption that's the signage. So clearly, if you're going to be putting signage all the way back here for drivers, there's no reason why you can't put signage outside the, out this way for cyclists as well. Right, we'll head back up Tyburn Road on the footpath. It's not clear with the detour, am I supposed to be on the footpath or am I supposed to be on the road? Here's someone who's just come down the footpath. All right, now I'm going to take an alternative way back. Oh yeah, the other thing with the signage. So up ahead of me at Pierce Street, there used to be signs telling me to turn right at that intersection. They are gone. She's turning in here. Yep, all right. So I'm going to follow her up Jewel Parade, because this is of course the other way that we can go to get back to the main route. Right, let's try not to run over any dogs or people. Now, for some reason, with the closure of Pierce Street, no one seems to want to engage with council or think about modifying the detour route to use this street instead. To me, it would make a lot more sense with Pierce Street closed, and the hazard that I identified in part one with the lack of sightlines down at the corner of Jewel Parade, that you're actually much better off riding up and down Jewel Parade, because by doing so you don't have to ride on the footpath past that burnt out building where the hoardings are put up, so in case it collapses you're not going to get crushed by brick and stuff. But more importantly, it allows you to avoid that blind corner, the corner of Jewel and Tideman, which is a real risk. I came past there the other day and a car came out, and if the lady in front of me on a bike and myself hadn't been really paying attention, we could have been clobbered. Right, so we'll do a recap of the risks going south to north, and that'll be the end of it for this video. So, but as I said, I think Main Roads really needs to engage professionals to do a road safety audit, because this is going on for another 2 years, and this really needs to be cleaned up now, and not after someone gets hospitalised or killed because of really not very good management of the detours down here.
Most of these defects and hazards were already covered in part one, and I'm not going to do them looking at them in the opposite direction. The new ones that did come out though in this particular ride through, on the southern side of the bridge, the cyclist detour really needs to be updating. Now that the bridge is closed, the way cyclists go along Beach Street, that really needs a rethink about how cyclists are sent up to the traffic lights. Now, the other thing, when we get to the northern side, there are at least 3 missing signs that have just disappeared. Again, I don't know if the traffic management plan has been updated to remove them, or whether the signs have just disappeared and no inspections are taking place and they haven't been put back in. If they are going to be put back in place, can we at least get some better signage, some more visible signage and some standardised signage? And I've put an example down there in the bottom left-hand corner. That's been used on the East Perth PSP closures for the last couple of months. It was also used on the Borloo Bridge project. It's very, very effective. It's more effective than the signage that's been used to date. So a good thing would be to go through and just replace all the signage with these larger frames and these 3-part frames. All right, if you've made it this far, thanks very much, and that'll do.